I don't know about you, but jumping around from tablet to desktop, back to mobile inside the GenerateBlocks editor to set different values at each breakpoint is not one of my favorite ways to spend the day. Not only do you have kind of panel inception going on, even with the dot indicators, it's hard to tell what values have been set at different breakpoints. Because of that, I find myself writing a lot more CSS by hand these days just to avoid all the panels inside GenerateBlocks. But if you're willing to work a little bit smarter instead of harder, there is actually some pretty cool ways you can set things up on desktop that will be automatically responsive without having to set different values at different breakpoints. And so in today's video, I'm going to show you a few of my favorite tricks for that will really reduce the amount of media queries you need to write inside your projects. If that sounds interesting to you, then stick around and let's get started. In my recent video on CSS tips for typography, which I'll make sure to link down in the description, I talked about using the clamp function for your font size. But clamps aren't just restricted to your typography, you can also use clamp in values for things like spacing. If we look at this card here, you'll see I have quite a bit of padding around all of this content. But if we go into our mobile preview, obviously we can see that 80 pixels is just too much. Now, of course, we could go in here and set 24 pixels here on mobile, but that means we're having to set up media queries and have this change at different breakpoints. If instead we use this clamp calculator, we can put in the minimum size, which is 24 pixels, the maximum size, which is the 80 pixels I originally had set up on desktop. We'll set a minimum viewport of 500 pixels and a maximum of 1280, which just happens to be my site's content width. And if we hit calculate and go ahead and copy this clamp value, we can go back in here into the editor. I'm going to get rid of that 24 pixels on mobile. And instead of the 80 pixels on desktop, I'm just going to paste in that clamp value. As you can see, nothing changed here on desktop. But now when I go into mobile, it's automatically responded down to a more appropriate amount of padding. Of course, this is going to scale in between all the breakpoints, so it still looks nice on tablet as well. And using this clamp function for your padding instead of different values at each breakpoint definitely saves you from having to set all these things up over and over again. In fact, I've been re-engineering all my padding variables like small, medium, large, extra large to have clamp values instead of having to use my calculator every time. That way I can just pop in one of my custom properties and move on. It's such a quicker workflow. It's been available to us for years. It's just a matter of changing your habits. This next tip has to do with restricting the width of some content on your page. Here we have a container that has both our headline and our description for this section, and we probably don't want this to run all the way across the page on desktop, and I've seen people tackle this a few different ways. First, you could just go into this width and set 50% width, and now it's only taking up 50% of the page, which is definitely a better look for this section. But if we go in here and go down to our mobile breakpoint, that's obviously not going to work, and we'd have to go ahead and set this back to 100%. Now, we could do this a little bit better by just setting a max width of 50%, but we're still going to run into the problem where we have this being stuck at 50% on mobile. Another trick I've seen people do is turn this wrapper into some kind of grid and then only put this in the first grid cell, leaving a blank grid cell on the other side. Again, that works, but at mobile, you're going to have to go down and make this first grid cell take up 100% of the width. Instead of all that, a nice little trick is to just use the CH unit in your max width. So we could do something like 60 CH, which is going to restrict the width of this container here. It's not exactly 50%, but it is a whole lot easier to read. And because we're setting this up as the max width, as we get down here to tablet, it's still not filling up the entire width, it's cutting it off, but it's taking up a more proportionate amount here. And when we get down to mobile, it's going ahead and filling the entire width because 60 CH is actually bigger than the amount of width we have here. So instead of having to set those different percentages or set up grids, if we just use something like the CH unit as our max width, this will automatically respond nicely and be easy to read at every single breakpoint without leaving any weird spaces. In our next example here, you can see we've added a grid of cards for all of our different services here. If I go ahead and select that grid, we can see we have that set up just as repeat for minmax 01FR, which is just going to give us a 4-column grid. And if we go down to tablet, I've gone ahead and changed that to a 2-column grid. And if we go down to mobile, we're not going to have two that fit next to each other, so we need to go down to that 1FR. Of course, this required us to use a different grid template columns declaration at each breakpoint, which means more media queries. So let's go ahead and zero those out here on the tablet and mobile versions, and we'll go back to our desktop, clean that out as well. And instead, we're going to paste in this new declaration, which is repeat, auto fit, minmax 250 pixels, comma, 1FR. I know that's kind of hidden here. I'll make sure that that exact declaration is down in the description. But what this is doing is using an auto fit to go ahead and determine the number of columns dynamically based on how much real estate is on the screen. Here we've set this to a minimum of 250 pixels, meaning that none of these columns can get below 250 pixels. Let's view those changes on the front end where I can go into the inspector and we can be a little bit more fluid with our viewport width. Here on desktop, you can see all of these are lining up next to each other. And if I go on top of this, you can see our columns are 307.85 pixels wide. So right now, 4 fit nicely. But as I go ahead and scrunch this in, you'll see once it gets to 250 pixels, right here, we are just above 250 at 251. Once it hits 250, it just breaks this down into the next line and automatically responds as we get smaller and smaller. So now we're down to 2 columns, and then as we get smaller, we're going to break down to the 1 column. So basically what we're saying is we don't care how many columns this layout is, we just don't want any of the individual columns to be less than 250 pixels wide. Of course, you can play with that number. If I change that to 350 pixels, there's going to be less columns here on desktop because we have a minimum of 350 pixels. We can't fit all 4 across. So all of these are just going to break a little bit sooner. So this depends on exactly what kind of layout you're going for. But here we're kind of letting the content inside the columns decide how many columns the grid should have. If I decided that 350 pixels is really the minimum these cards look good at, I can set that to 350 pixels and it's never going to get below that number, and the number of columns just depends on how much space we have to fit those. Next, we have a really common scenario. We're looking at our grid of cards here, but you can see that the images we uploaded have different heights. This one on the right is quite a bit shorter. Obviously, we need all of those to be the same, so I've gone ahead and added this card image class to all of them. Now, what I see a lot of people do because it feels obvious is just go in here and change the height. Maybe something like 275 pixels looks good to your eye here on desktop. But if we go down to our mobile preview, we can see the image almost looks square, maybe even slightly taller than it is wide. But remember, back on our desktop, it was actually more of a landscape orientation. This is because we're just setting a static height to all these, and the viewport width is changing, which is making it look a little bit different on mobile. But if instead of setting a height here, we set an aspect ratio, we could make sure that the images keep the same proportion no matter the width of the viewport. So here we'll go with 16/9. You can see that fixed them all here on the desktop version. They're all the same height. And now when we go into mobile, they still have that 16:9 aspect ratio. So they have the same proportions no matter how much width they have available to them. Using the aspect ratio on images is a really common example of where this works really well, but you can use aspect ratio on containers or any other elements where you just want to make sure you keep those same proportions. Now there's one more trick I wanted to include in this video, although it doesn't quite fit because it doesn't really save you time. However, container queries work differently from media queries. Even though you still have to set things up at different sizes, it avoids having to rely on just the width of the browser or the viewport in order to make changes to your design. Now, container queries are a bit more involved, so I didn't want to include it at the end of this video, but I do have a video here on my channel that goes into it with more depth. Now, I actually recorded this video when container queries first became available inside GenerateBlocks, so it might be slightly outdated at this point, but I'd love for you to check that out and give me some feedback to let me know if you'd like to explore container queries a little bit further. They are one of the ways that you can avoid writing media queries, and they actually give you a few extra flexible superpowers that media queries just can't do. If you'd be interested in a more deep dive video on that subject, let me know down in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you want to make sure to catch the next one, hit subscribe and we'll see you then.